Today, we're going to talk about 6 marketing trends for 2022 and beyond. So my name's Eric Su, own a portfolio of different marketing businesses, and I'm here to help level up the world. Let's talk about the very first marketing trend for 2022. And some of these things might be similar or old, but I'm going to explain why they're still very much trends. So the very first thing is on Twitter. Twitter is an underestimated marketing channel. If your audience, they are software founders, if they're business people, if they're investors, if they're part of the crypto community, whether it's DeFi, whether it's NFTs, whatever, they're hanging out on Twitter. And with Twitter coming out with Spaces, which is their drop-in audio feature, its engagement has been really good. And the beautiful thing about Twitter is the ability to connect with super smart people, right? Like-minded people, and I can just DM these people and they'll respond. So I've DM'd with Andrew Yang, the presidential candidate. I've DM'd with Des Bryant, the former NFL receiver. We've talked with these people. We talked about collaborating as well. I'm just going through Twitter right now, and you can see there's a lot of activity. A couple 100 million monthly active users. From an advertising perspective, it's very much a blue ocean. It's not super expensive to advertise on Twitter. And you can see they have a lot of different ad formats here. There's one up here. This one's promoted over here. You just scroll through the feed. This one's promoted as well. There's a big opportunity here, right? It's very important if you're thinking about ads to obviously target the right people, but even from an organic standpoint as well, if you make sure that you have a very curated feed and the people that you're following are dropping in good information for you that helps you grow, then good. But if you don't have a curated feed, if you let whatever information come to you, well, that's going to ultimately not be a very positive outcome for you, right? So think about how you can use Twitter for collaboration. Think about how you can curate your feed and make the information helpful for you. And then think about also how you might utilize Twitter ads as well. And I actually have a video on Twitter ads on if it's worth it or not for this year and beyond. The next thing I want to call out here is NFTs. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. They're becoming a thing, right? People are building community around their NFTs. They're building utility around their NFTs. Just think of them as digital collectibles where you can verify kind of the origin of these collectibles, which you actually couldn't do with digital products in the past. So there's a lot of implications behind NFTs in general. This is one NFT that I picked up yesterday called the Founder's Key, which is from Tom Bilyeu. He's the co-founder of Quest Nutrition. Now he's got Impact Theory. I minted one yesterday. So I minted a legendary one, and he has couple tiers here: legendary, heroic, and relentless. What this basically means is I have access. I've purchased access now where I get direct access to him and his team. There's partnership perks as well. I get access to 3 future mints as well if he does other NFTs, and the right to partner. So don't worry if you don't understand a lot of the things that I'm saying right now. What's interesting to me is from an intellectual property standpoint, if you look at his roadmap, he's going to continue to focus on this. He's going to offer free video content. He's kind of developing these shows as well, access to his conferences, access to his live events, access to his courses, and then he's also going to be building Impact Theory Metaverse. And there's a lot of stuff that he has coming. Think of it as this. If he's selling maybe 20,000 of these are 20,000 people that are going to be raving fans for him. Raving fans, you get these people to come to an event, and he has to deliver for his community as well. The role that's going to be really big in the next couple of years is community. Community managers, chief community officer. I think that's very much like the 2010s where people were thinking about social media. This is very much the next frontier. Community has always been around, but not many people have talked about it. If you think about what's happening from decentralization standpoint, people are kind of trying to move away from like the Facebooks, the YouTubes of the world. I still think they're very much going to be a big factor for the next maybe 10 years or so. But, we have to move towards decentralization because, we don't want to put all our eggs into one basket. These platforms are becoming very powerful, and good, they won the game. That's fair to them, but we also have to protect ourselves as well, which is why you see people like Tom Bilyeu. He's building out these communities where he's going to have rabid fans. Community helps retain customers at the end of the day. These people will talk about the brand. That goes a long way. Community helps foster word of mouth, and word of mouth is one of the most powerful forms of marketing. Next NFT I want to call is VeeFriends. VeeFriends has been around for a while, and they've done over $80 million in sales volume. Gary Vee was kind of the first one to come out with these utility tokens around his community. So you can see right here, this is this possum. This possum provides access for his conference for the next 3 years. Depending on the token that you have, you might have access to go to a New York Knicks courtside game with him, or you might get access to like a dinner with him or like a group type of scenario, right? Being able to use NFTs to raise money for your brand, that's really cool. And to be able to build that community and to deliver for that community as well, you could build a lot of other opportunities around your brand. That's why we're working on our NFT project right now called Leveling Up Heroes. We want to do something similar. That's what it takes. I mean, Gary Vee, what he's doing with this is he's planning to build kind of the next version of Disney or Marvel for himself, and he's going to work on this for the rest of his life. So if I believe in Gary Vee and if I believe in Tom Bilyeu, I'm basically kind of getting some equity in their brand. If their brand becomes more powerful, which I believe they will, then my NFTs are going to become more valuable as well. The next one I want to call out, the next trend, number 3, would be around YouTube. And I want to say specifically what around YouTube. So this is my friend Anthony Pompliano over here, and his YouTube channel is growing pretty rapidly. On one of the days, he got 330,000 views, and subscribers-wise, he's gaining a good amount. This day, he gained about 6,000 or so. What he's doing is really interesting. He is going live every single day with his brothers with a show called The Best Business Show, and I'm pretty sure he's repurposing it to podcasts as well. He's basically going live for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. His team is taking these videos and chopping them up and just publishing it to the channel. And you can see some of these views, 12,000, 17,000, 28,000, 46,000 on this one, 80,000 on this one, 20,000. He's kind of doing the live format, and then he's just chopping the videos up. He's got good headlines for each of the kind of repurposed videos, and he's got good thumbnails, right? So you have to have a good team for this. And this is not a simple production. It takes a lot of time to kind of prepare the topics, and it's very much a daily news show, right? That's one example that's trending around YouTube, and that's something we're gonna test out as well. This is my friend George Gammon. He has Rebel Capitalist. This channel has 31,000 subscribers. On this day, it gained about 80,000 views. And subscribers wise, he gained 800, right? So he's growing rapidly. So I've texted him about this. He thinks his channel is going to grow. This one's going to grow to about 1 million or so. He's very much doing the same thing here. He's kind of doing the show, but he's just chopping things up over here. Some of these will be a hit. Some of these won't do as well. But you see this one, 15,000 gold price breaks out. When he talks about government, it doesn't do as well. When he talks about kind of more finance related stuff like taxes, it does well. Again, when he talks about the government, it just doesn't do as well. That's what the YouTube algorithm has kind of pegged him at. When he talks about finance, business, the economy, he typically does well. So trend number 4 would be around email lists. So you see a lot of people quitting their jobs at The Verge as editors and building their own email lists. We talk about decentralization a little bit, but you got to think about how you can own your audience at the end of the day. Can you own your email list? Can you own your SMS list? Can you have a push notification list as well? These are things that you got to think about to diversify, to protect yourself for the long term. And an email list is a nice way of generating ROI, right? You can directly tie in ROI with the emails that you're sending out. SMS communities, I kind of just talked about a little bit. We use community.com for that, but just engaging with your community more. We talked about community being one of the roles of the future, right? Community managers, chief community officers, email goes into it, SMS goes into it as well. The things I'm talking about that helps foster your audience, which then you can kind of foster into building your community, which is where people are interacting with each other. The final thing I want to call out, number 6 for marketing trends, would be around podcasting. We're in talks with iHeartRadio right now. We're in talks with Morning Brew right now about doing something. And so Spotify is buying up a bunch of podcasts. They did a deal with Joe Rogan. They're buying a bunch of podcast companies, and they'll do exclusive podcast deals. So it's still very much heating up right now. It takes time to build a great podcast, but that's one of the ways to build that audience, to get them to know, like, and trust you. And then you can build a community around it, because that's what we've done with the Marketing School podcast. We have our next event coming up next month. That's fostering a small element of community there, right? And we even want to do a bigger event as well. So let me know what trends you think are coming up for 2022 and beyond, and maybe I will talk about them in the future. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell button, and check out one of the other videos over here, and we'll catch you later.